It is crossover Thursday on Locked On Bears and Locked On Titans. Lauren Cox and Tyler Rowland here, getting you ready for this week one matchup between two exciting young teams. Our crossover Thursday podcast is brought to you by our friends at Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use our promo code LockedOnNFL to win $50 instantly when you play $5. Prize Picks, run your game. Tyler, when you look at the three most important things the Tennessee Titans have to do to win this game, what stands out for you?
Well, number one, you have to contain Caleb Williams. You can't let him get outside the pocket. You have to be disciplined in your rush, which is a tough task for Arden Key, who I'm not very high on as a starter for the Titans, who's their edge rusher. He's an undisciplined player, will get upfield and allow the quarterback open lanes to run. If you let Caleb Williams play make on the outside and get space outside to kind of see the field clearly and not be in the pocket, not have to worry about interior pressure, you're going to be in trouble. He's going to make plays. He's going to do what he's been doing his whole life. So the Titans have to contain Caleb Williams. Also, they have to run the ball. I think you got to make it easier on Will Levis in a tough environment with a lot of new pieces and ultimately win the turnover battle. If the Titans lose the turnover battle on the road, they won't win the game. So those are the big three things that I'm looking at.
Yeah, I think that's a really quick and easy way to have a winning formula, right? Like, don't, win the turnover margin, run the ball, take care of the quarterback, and keep the other one contained. I think the Bears are going to be looking to do something similar. Like, I think first and foremost, it's about protecting Caleb Williams from that blitz in particular. Like, make sure you have a plan. It's not just, do you have enough blockers to pick up their blitzes, but sometimes they're going to have more guys than you have blockers. So does every single play have a hot route built into it? Do you have the right checks at the line of scrimmage for Caleb Williams? Can you mix in the right combinations of quick throws, screen passes, maybe draw a play to get the pass rushers coming up field? Like, it'll be a nice test of the new Bears offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron from the Seattle Seahawks.
Yes.
Like, how well can he adapt his game plan based on what they're expecting from an opponent, albeit a new opponent where we don't have tape on how this Titans defense is exactly going to run. So you take the tape of the Ravens defense, but then the players on the Titans and the tape of what those players do well and kind of
it could be a little different. You know what I mean? Like Denard Wilson has mentioned his influences like Todd Bowles and Greg Williams, these blitz heavy guys. And you add that in a little bit of what Mike McDonald was doing last year with the sim pressures and 3 safety looks and stuff like that. I think the Titans will incorporate all of that. So it is hard to know. One thing I'll also say is the Titans' best rush is from the interior. It's Jeffrey Simmons. They're going to have linebackers blitzing up the middle. If you allow Caleb Williams to get out of the pocket, that interior rush no longer matters. He's out. He's out of the henhouse. It doesn't matter. So if the Titans want to be able to capitalize on their best asset on defense, their interior rush, well, they're going to have to make sure that their outside rush is disciplined and doesn't just leave open the back door so Caleb Williams could get out. It's easy. It's that. Flipping it over, we're both talking about it. You got to run the ball. Will Levis cannot be put. I think the Titans have to lean on play action. The sound. I think Chicago is going to be fired up for this game. Like, it is going to be loud. And the Titans he can't just look at Calvin Ridley and be like, oh, we've seen this coverage pre-snap before. We know what we need to do here. We know what the check is. That stuff is still going to have to be figured out throughout the season, and it's going to be hard to do verbal communication to do that stuff. Brian Callahan was already talking about the fact that the Titans have been working on their nonverbal communication. They're going to need that in a big way. So running the ball, I think, is going to keep them out of situations where that's absolutely critical and limit the amount of verbal communication that they're going to need while they play in a hostile environment.
And that's the one thing about this Bears defensive line that stands out too, is like we talk about not having a lot of faith in their pass rush. The run defense on the other side is something where, yeah, they don't have the big name talent of guys you might think of as pass rushers, but that group up front is stout and has been effective.
Billings especially, yeah.
Billings is one of the more underrated nose tackles in football. But even I mentioned Gervon Dexter, the second-year man out of Florida, like very raw as a pass rusher, but he's 6'5", 312 and moves really well. Like he's the 3 technique, but he's built like some teams' nose tackles. Like, they are stout in there, and they do a good job of keeping the linebackers free to then be able to attack downhill. And I expect the Titans will have some trouble running the ball against this Bears offense. And then, all right, Will Levis, like you said, they want to see consistency from him in Tennessee. It's showtime. If you run the ball twice and you have 3rd and 8, all right, go time. Maybe the pass rush isn't going to be all up in your face, but 3rd and 8's not easy to complete in any down and distance. So that's where I think it's going to be a good test for the Titans as well, who the Bears are going to stress them in the ways that they also need to be tested, much like how Caleb's going to be tested in some of the ways he needs as well.
And turnover battle is pretty self-explanatory. I mean, you're on the road. Honestly, it doesn't matter what the team. You need to try to win the turnover battle. Turnovers are such a big part of football. So I don't think that needs, some kind of deep dive. What's the keys for the Bears side of things?
Yeah, I think it's about giving Caleb Williams options under center. I think it's about making Will Levis one-dimensional in that same, and making the Titans offense one-dimensional. But then the other thing I want to throw out there is the special teams aspect of this. The Bears need better from their special teams and made it a point this offseason to try and get more out of that unit. They drafted the punter, Torrey Taylor, in the 4th round. And it's about really winning the field position battle here, because I think because it's week 1, because it's new offenses and new players, that I think there's going to be some constipation here and there where it's just for both teams, where the offenses are still trying to figure out exactly what they're going to look like. And the Titans blitz will stifle some of what the Bears want to do. And maybe, the Titans offensive line versus the Bears pass rush, we'll see, but maybe there's some times when they're not on the same page offensively. And so there's some punting back and forth, and certainly the kick return and the field position battle is going to be a big deal. The Bears have not had the kind of consistency from their return men that they liked. Bayless Jones is going to do kickoffs. DeAndre Carter is going to do punts. They're hoping that, not that somebody's going to return a touchdown in this game, but can you avoid muffing those kicks and just not absolutely screwing it up, and at least being able to play the battle where if we're exchanging 3 and outs, is your punter and your return man helping your team at least advance the ball farther down the field so that your young quarterback doesn't have to go as far against a tough defense as the other team's young quarterback.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. And the Titans have done a lot to try to overhaul their special teams from a returner standpoint. And then obviously the coaching staff and getting Ryan Stonehouse back, who's been considered one of the best punters in the league since his rookie year. That'll help as well. The field position battle will be huge. Lauren, I guess it's time. Predictions. I got to tell you, Lauren, I came into the episode thinking a certain way. But after our conversation, I got to tell you, I changed my mind here. I had the Titans losing on the road in week 1, but after our talks and the way you've described the team and some of the things that you're looking for, my mind started saying, rookie quarterbacks in their debut typically do struggle, and there are some advantages here that the Titans could have. So I'm actually going to take the Titans to win this game. I'm going to say 20-17.
I don't blame you. I think this is a game that has a lot of volatility, and we see in week 1 every year, either direction, the results don't always match up what the rest of the season goes, where the Chiefs will lose in week 1 to a bad team and then obviously win the Super Bowl. So I'm not going to end up putting too much stock either way. If the Bears win, it's not going to be me saying, all right, see the proof of concept, they're going to be great all season. If the Bears lose, oh no, they're screwed. It's all right, there's a lot of time for things to still figure it out. I do think it's going to end up being a lower scoring game. I was thinking a score similar to you. The Bears are 4.5-point favorites on FanDuel Sportsbook right now. I think that's a pretty good line. I would think that puts the odds around a 21-17 type of finish. I'm going to go a little bit lower there. I'll say 17-13 Bears. That it ends up staying close this whole time, but both offenses do a little bit more punting than we want to see, and it does become a little bit of an uglier offensive game there. But ultimately, the Bears find the end zone one more time than Tennessee does, and maybe I'll say it's a turnover from the Bears defense that gives them really good field position, and then they get the go ahead sort of score comes off of a big turnover from somebody that might not even necessarily be Will Levis makes a bad throw, but it's a batted pass at the line of scrimmage that gets tipped up and picked off. Because when the Bears pass rush hasn't been getting home, there have been a lot of batted passes at training camp practices and preseason as well. I think they're going to put one up there up for grabs, and it's up to another player on the defense to take advantage of it, and that can be the difference in this game.
Well, Lauren, I got to tell you, if the Titans only score 13 points and lose to a rookie quarterback in week 1, Nashville may burn down. So that is for a game with that much constipation, it sure sounds crappy.